Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving deep into a tool that is absolutely foundational to cybersecurity. We're demystifying Nmap, the ultimate network scanner. If you've ever wondered how security pros or, malicious hackers actually see a network, well, this is exactly where it all starts.
Have you ever actually asked yourself what exactly do hackers do right before they launch a full-blown attack on a network? The truth is, they don't just guess. No way. They meticulously map it out. They look for the open doors and the hidden pathways. This crucial first step is called reconnaissance, and to do it effectively, they need a highly sophisticated radar. That radar? It's Nmap.
Here is our roadmap for today. 1. Defining Nmap. 2. Cracking the TCP handshake. 3. Essential Nmap scan types. 4. Evading network firewalls. And 5. OS detection and ethics. Let's jump right in.
All right, Section 1, Nmap, the network mapper. Created back in 1997 by Gordon Lyon, this is an open-source tool used worldwide by security professionals. Think of it as the ultimate network radar that discovers live hosts, scans ports, and identifies the exact services running on those devices.
Let's look at where Nmap actually fits into the big security picture. In ethical hacking, there are 5 distinct phases. You start with Phase 1, reconnaissance, where you gather basic intelligence. But Phase 2 is network scanning, and this is where Nmap is the absolute king. Before you can ever even think about Phase 3, exploitation, or Phase 4, post-exploitation, you have to scan the target to know what's there. Finally, Phase 5 is reporting. But without the critical data that Nmap gathers in Phase 2, the rest of this entire chain literally falls apart.
Imagine any device on a network as a massive house with exactly 65,535 physical doors. We call these doors ports, and they fall into 3 distinct ranges. The well-known ports, from 0 to 1023, are like the main public entrances for common services. Think HTTP for web traffic or SSH. Then we have registered ports for specific apps, and finally, dynamic ports, going all the way up to 65,535. Those are temporary, pop-up doors used just for short-term internal data sharing.
Moving on to Section 2, cracking the TCP handshake. Before we can start knocking on those 65,000 doors, we really need to understand the foundation, the actual language that computers use to talk to each other and establish a connection.
Think of TCP flags as the literal vocabulary words devices use to signal their intent. SYN means I want to connect. ACK is I acknowledge your message. RST is a sudden command to reset or close this connection immediately. FIN means I'm gracefully finished talking. PSH tells the system to push data right now. URG flags data as an urgent priority. And null literally means sending nothing at all. Learning this vocabulary is absolutely crucial because Nmap uses these exact flags to trick systems into revealing their secrets.
So how do these vocabulary words form a conversation? Well, it's known as the TCP three-way handshake. Step 1, your machine sends a SYN packet, basically saying, hey, I want to connect. Step 2, the target replies with a SYN plus ACK, ready, I hear you, and I want to connect too. Finally, Step 3, your machine sends an ACK, acknowledge, we are officially connected. This 3-step handshake is the beating heart of network communication, and as we're about to see, we can completely manipulate it.
Now, depending on how a target replies to our handshakes, Nmap classifies those thousands of doors into different port states. An open port actively accepts the connection. It's listening. A closed port politely rejects you by sending back an RST or reset flag. Filtered means Nmap can't actually tell if the door is open or closed because a firewall is blocking the signal entirely. And unfiltered means the port is technically reachable, but Nmap is still trying to determine its actual state.
Now that we know the language and the doors, let's hit Section 3, Essential Nmap scan types. This is our active arsenal. This is how we actually go about knocking on all these network doors.
Let's compare the 2 heavy hitters. First up, the TCP connect scan using the flag -ST. This scan completes the full 3-way handshake we just talked about. It's highly reliable, but because it fully connects, it's slower and leaves a massive footprint in the target's security logs. On the flip side, we have the TCP SYN scan, or -SS. This is a stealthy, half-open scan. It sends the SYN, gets the SYNAC, but instead of sending that final ACK to connect, it immediately sends a reset to tear it right down. It gets the answer without officially connecting. That makes it way faster and far less likely to be logged. Just keep in mind, you are going to need root or admin privileges to run it.
But hey, what if we aren't scanning TCP ports? Enter the UDP scan using -SU. Now, UDP is notoriously known as the slowest Nmap scan type. Why? Because unlike TCP, UDP doesn't use a handshake. There is no clear confirmation or ACK coming back. Nmap literally fires a packet into the void and then just has to patiently wait for a timeout to guess if the port is open or filtered. It is an agonizing wait, but it's absolutely essential for finding vulnerabilities in critical services like DNS.
Which brings us to a seriously fascinating part of network reconnaissance, Section 4, evading network firewalls. What exactly do you do when the network doors are guarded by strict security guards?
Firewalls operate on strict rulebooks, usually looking for standard SYN packets that initiate connections. To sneak past them, we use stealth scans that send completely bizarre, unexpected packets. The null scan sends a packet with 0 flags set. The fin scan sends a finish command without ever actually starting a connection. And the incredibly named Xmas scan lights the packet up like a Christmas tree, sending fin, PSH, and URG flags all at once. Because these don't match the standard rules for initiating a connection, a confused firewall will often just let this strange traffic slip right on through.
To outsmart a firewall, you really need to know what kind of memory it has. A stateful firewall remembers the state of open connections. A stateless firewall has absolutely 0 memory and treats every single packet individually. To figure out which one is currently guarding your target, you use the ACK scan, or --S. By sending just an acknowledge flag completely out of nowhere, you can analyze the target's confused response to determine the firewall's specific rule set.
Now let's talk about the ultimate trade-off, speed versus stealth. Nmap gives you timing templates from T0 to T5. T0 is agonizingly slow, waiting a long time between sending packets, but it is practically invisible to network defenders. T3 is your well-balanced default. On the other end, T5 is an aggressive, instant blitz. It's the fastest way to get your data, for sure, but it is incredibly loud, practically guaranteeing that you're going to be detected.
If total evasion is your absolute top priority, you need packet fragmentation, executed with the -F flag. This advanced technique takes your standard scan data and literally chops it up into tiny fragmented pieces before sending it across the network. Because the data signature is broken up into these tiny fragments, the firewalls simply cannot read the full context of the packet. By the time the target device actually reassembles the pieces, the scan is already complete, right under their noses.
All right, we've mapped the network and bypassed the firewalls. Let's move to our final step, Section 5, OS detection and ethics. It's time to fully profile the target's identity and set some very strict legal boundaries for using these skills.
By using the 'O flag, Nmap basically transforms into a brilliant forensic detective. It guesses the target's operating system by analyzing subtle network quirks. It looks at the TTL, or time to live, which differs between Windows and Linux. It inspects the TCP window size to see how the device actually handles data. It even looks at how the device sequences its IP IDs. By gathering these tiny clues, Nmap can tell you exactly what OS you are dealing with, which exposes potential system-specific vulnerabilities.
And if you want all that information and more instantly, you use the 'A flag, known as the aggressive scan. This is the ultimate heavy-duty command. In one single go, it bundles OS detection, service version detection, automated script scanning, and a trace route. The power here is literally incredible. You get a massive, comprehensive map of your target. But remember that trade-off we discussed? The risk here is that the aggressive scan is incredibly loud and will absolutely be detected by almost any security system.
This brings us to the absolutely most critical point in this entire explainer. Scanning someone's network without explicit permission is strictly illegal. The tools we just discussed are the exact same ones malicious hackers use. As ethical professionals, our golden rule is authorization. You must only ever scan networks you personally own, your local practice labs, or networks where you have explicit, written legal contracts like an authorized penetration test.
So I want to leave you with a provocative thought to help you practice what we've covered today. If you set up a safe local lab and ran an aggressive scan on your own home network tonight, what hidden open doors and vulnerabilities would you find? Build your lab, stay ethical, and start mapping out your environment. Thanks for joining this explainer, and keep learning.